Hey guys, Kid Chrome again. Welcome to my first reaction video. Today, we're going to watch which Punch-Out boxer is the biggest cheater. Now, just before I go and watch this video, this is a video by Bumbles McFumbles. This is not my video. You and I are going to be watching it together. So if you haven't seen Bumbles McFumbles video, I suggest you go check it out first. With that being said, if you do like this video and want to help this channel grow, hit the like button and the subscribe button. If we can get to as many likes as we can, I'll be back reacting to more videos. With that being said, let's start the video. Okay.
Punch-Out is one of Nintendo's longest tenured franchises, using
Really?
as a template for what essentially boils down to a puzzle game but with punches, as all good puzzles should have to put those punches together. Of course, Punch-Out isn't something you should take very seriously since you're going up against magical teleporting Indian men,
I mean,
guys wielding
true.
staves in the ring, and someone who thinks it's okay to kick in a boxing match. However, all these guys raise a very valid question. How exactly does the governing body of Punch-Out's boxing world define its rule set? The only way these flagrant fouls would be allowed is if there was literally no rule set whatsoever. If this is somehow not
Okay.
for at least a point reduction, you're gonna get someone with a knife in their gloves sooner rather than later. So, I wanted to see exactly which Punch-Out boxers are breaking which rules of the Sweet Science. For this,
Okay.
it's specifically Punch-Out's Wii reboot from 2009. Since not only is it the best looking, it's the most detailed, and will allow us to see what exactly these racist caricatures are doing to one-up the player.
Alright, let's get to it. Wait, did I see Lemon Demon? I did!
However, Little Mac is probably the best place to start.
Wait.
Given the fact he's your
No, it's the
everyday
monster,
Bronx,
not the
it's
Lemon
safe to
Demon.
assume that Mac is a pretty standard boxer.
Yeah, I saw the monster.
Since not only is it the best looking, it's the most detailed, and will allow us to see what exactly these racist caricatures are doing to one-up the player.
Yeah, did you guys see that? Yeah, it was right there. I saw the monster.
Speaking of the player, however, Little Mac is probably the best place to start. Given the fact he's your everyman from the Bronx, it's safe to assume that Mac is a pretty standard boxer. And you'd be right. From his attire to his stance to how he conducts himself in the corner, Mac is following almost every rule in the Unified Rules of Boxing as established by the Association of Boxing Commissions and Combat Sports.
Okay.
There are a lot of unseens that we can assume are followed, like proper fist wrapping, a clean checkup during the weigh-in, and no illegal substances. Although getting back health from Doc eating a chocolate bar is up for debate. However, it's not a perfect record. See, Mac is actually breaking one of the most paramount rules in all of boxing.
What is that?
He's only 17. These fully grown men are unleashing bear hugs, Hondo rushes, and Dreamland Expresses on someone not even old enough to drink to numb the pain. This would automatically disallow Mac to compete at such a high level of
Hey,
competition.
Mac's my
It would
age.
have to take another year before professionally fighting. But maybe the WVBA allows him to compete for being a prodigy on Doc Lewis's recommendation?
I mean,
Either way, just
Doc
not
Lewis
even
was
one
former
Mac
heavyweight
is
champion.
just not ready. Some other admin I feel I should address is some of the rules of boxing that would automatically disallow these fights from happening. First is weight classes. Mac is 107 pounds, putting him in the light flyweight division. The very first opponent he fights, Glass Joe, is 110 pounds, putting him in the flyweight division. If Mac wants to fight outside his weight class, he's going to need to at least reach the minimum weight for the class he wants to fight in. So he's bulking up to at least 108 pounds. How will he ever manage that? He could stand on his scale a little weirdly. But
I don't think that would work.
Who weighs in at over 400 pounds. That's a weight class so far ahead of Mac's own that it doesn't even exist.
Have you never heard of heavyweight?
Clearly the WBBA isn't concerned with weight classes on all the freak show fights, which is all well and good for basically everybody except Little Mac. At his weight, it's very likely, unless he plays the most defensive and evasive style ever devised, he will be killed in the ring. Weight classes exist for a reason, and with Little Mac's pitiful reach, he'd never so much be able to land a hit on anyone. So, yeah, Mac would realistically never be able to go against even Disco Kid, who's as far from Mac on the weight chart as possible as heavyweight. But let's say, for the sake of this video being made, that Mac could get into the ring. Which of his opponents is breaking the most rules?
That's what we're here
First up
for.
is Glass Joe, D- in human form. This poor son of a gun is 99 in the hole with only a single win to his name. Granted, that
That's debatable.
Everything about Joe is frankly up to par. His gloves, trunks, boots, corner behavior is all up to snuff. However, where we do have to mark an infraction is in his title defense match. Exclusive to Punch-Out Wii is title defense mode, where you go up against the same 13 boxers from the base game with enhanced movesets to make them championship material. What does Glass Joe get? A pillow tied to his head. In his intro cutscene after his 100th loss, it's shown that his doctor is so scared for his safety that he won't let him compete without headgear. And now this is a very big infraction, possibly the biggest that you could get. Headpieces in boxing are strictly forbidden, as you're cushioning one of the most easily punchable parts of the body. The only way that headgear is allowed is if both boxers get it. But it doesn't. If Joe's taking reduced damage from headshots, he has an unfair advantage. However, I'm not totally sure I can count this one. You see, in this game, if you lose 100 times, you get a headgear you can wear during matches that will reduce damage. Now, I will say that if you've taken 100 KO losses in professional fights, a headgear now is about as effective as a mommy kiss on a decapitation. But it raises an interesting question. If Joe is fighting with this because he has to, does it count as an infraction? I mean, he literally can't fight without it thanks to his doctors in the WBDA, so is it wrong? Yes, it is. Unless Mac is also wearing one, you can't wear headgear. Now, if Mac also loses 100 times and wears it, it's all up to board. Until he does, though, he's got one infraction against it.
Okay.
On Kaiser comes next, and given the fact that he's shown being bullied by kids, I think Mac will do just fine. Kaiser seems totally up to board, just like Joe. However, it's time to bust out a rule you might not have even known.
What is that?
Kaiser's pants are actually the big problem.
What?
In boxing, it's required that you wear loose-fitting trunks that extend no further than the knees to better show off potential low blows. Kaiser's not only wearing them below his knees, he's got them tucked into his boots. That's an infraction right there. But given that you've seen his status as a boxing teacher, it's pretty safe to say that he's got no other major oversights in his boxing style. Disco Kid is after him, and as I said before, this guy is massively out of Mac's league. Literally, he's double Mac's own weight. At first, I thought the disco ball in his intro could count as an outside electronic, which you can't have. But upon closer inspection, it's more likely than not a part of the bombed-out ghetto gym that these fights take place in.
What?
It's a professional fighting arena on Mondays and Thursdays, and senior bingo on the weekends.
How does that make sense?
And using headphones in the corner. He could very easily be receiving outside illegal advice through those. There's just no way to know. However, the biggest offense is in his title defense fight, where he foregoes the boxing shorts for a fashion-forward leotard. While fitting in with his lifestyle choice to take up boxercising, it's also bananas illegal. In boxing, you're required to have a clear line of demarcation between your trunks and your chest with the seam of your boxing shorts. It also needs to contrast as to let your opponent know where would count as a low blow. He's not even wearing pants! Disco Kid is asking for low blows and he has nobody to blame but himself. The Disco Kid comes out swinging with a record-setting 2 infractions. Here's hoping he doesn't get immediately...
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with King Hippo.
Okay.
One of the most iconic boxers in the franchise, King Hippo is also lousy with rule breaks. Before the fight even starts, King Hippo's weight, height, and nationality are all unknown. By that logic, it's safe to say that he did not come to the required weigh-in and hasn't gotten a proper US-sanctioned boxing license. Place of origin cannot be up to interpretation! Before a punch is even thrown, he's already broken 2 rules. And then we get to the fight, and instantly we got a violation for head covering. That funny little crown may look good in marketing, but you don't get to take it into the ring with you. However, for the rest of the fight, he somehow manages to keep it clean, save for his pants falling down. But that's a more public indecency thing than a boxing thing. In his title defense mode, however, we've got a bigger issue to deal with. His crown is back and actually bigger this time, but the real issue to discuss is what's going on with his stomach. He's wearing body armor. But would you believe me if I said that the covering for a man's hole isn't the only problem?
Is that even legal?
Only in minor circuit fights are you allowed to have tape on your body. That's why the big X over his tummy is legal. In a world championship fight, you can't have tape on your person. So taping the manhole covering is a whole new rule break. King Hippo manages to break 5 different rules in his fights and puts him well ahead of the rest of the pack. Moving on to the major circuit now, Piston Hondo is up, and with it we get the most up-to-bar boxer thus far. Literally the only thing you can get him on is his headband. That's because it's a head covering and it might allow punches to slide off easier.
Actually, he's wrong.
Same game you are. This is even a problem exclusive to the Wii version, because in the original he fights without a headband. Sadly though,
is he wrong?
Competition for the most heinous crime that a boxer, nay, a human.
What do you mean?
Pirating manga. After him is Bear Hugger.
What's wrong with pirating manga?
Canadian studio, you'd think they'd make this rep one of the...
What's wrong with pirating manga? I have like almost the entire main series of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid right next to my camera.
More noble ones. There's a lot to unpack with Bear Hugger. First, this is a tire. Just like Von Kaiser, you gotta be showing off those knees. Also, like Disco, there's no distinct line between his upper and lower body. Not to mention, in title defense, he's got a head covering too in the form of his hat. Now let's get on to the wholly unique infractions. He's got far too bushy a beard. In boxing, you need to either be clean-shaven or have well-groomed facial hair. And certainly no beards are allowed. Something like that acts as a cushion for the jaw. In between rounds, he's also chugging on maple syrup and taking naps. This covers two whole new infractions. The consumption of anything other than water while in the corner that you may associate with a certain someone else, and not taking the fight seriously. Not only is it disrespectful,
Wow.
it's also breaking the rules.
I mean,
However, let's
true.
move one out of the way. He's not fighting alone. Bear Hugger brings a squirrel with him into the ring for title defense. Let's ignore the animal cruelty because it's shown that the squirrel gave consent. It's shown that the squirrel gave
You literally did that joke.
consent. And instead focus on the rule of boxing that only the fighters and the ref can enter the ring. Can't do tag team boxing despite how cool that sounds. Bear Hugger overall commits 7 different rule breaks in the ring. Boy, I sure hope he isn't immediately shown up. This one's just weird. Let's get the
Hey,
other
language.
now and just deal with him later. First off is the obvious head covering.
That is not protecting its head.
At this point. And also the last boxer in the game to break this rule.
That's not head covering. If you're from a certain country, you're allowed to wear it. If you're from a certain country, like in India, for an example, you're allowed to wear it.
Since from here on out, we're all playing fair in the pants game. He also leads the ring at points, which is incredibly illegal, which you can only do because of... No, let's just get it over with. Now, in the unified rules of boxing, there isn't anything exactly outlawing the use of magic, but at the same time, I feel like that's only because Evander Holyfield never tried a fucking cup and ball trick in the middle of a match. So he's obviously
Again,
the use of magic, but
watch your mouth.
easy. Essentially, I need to make up a rule on the fly here. Do I penalize him under each different class of magic used? Do I penalize him once with the broad umbrella of magic usage in general? Are clones counted as outside influences despite the fact that they're the same guy? If the clones can't do damage to Little Mac, are they a threat? Ultimately, it came down to this. I'm handing out an infraction for the teleportation, one for the floating, and I'll give him an infraction equal to the maximum amount of clones he uses in one fight, which is in his Mirage dance, where he uses a clone in the back and one to try to pincer you. So I'm giving him an overall 4 infractions for the usage of magic. That lands Tiger with 8 infractions when you added the use of applying carbon, which again, isn't covered in the rules, but I'm just pretty confident about it. Call it a hunch. As a breath of fresh air, Don Flamenco only gets 2 infractions, with the first being for the toupee that he wears during matches. That's a head covering, and as unlikely as straight through the top of the head is, and no matter how little it covers, an infraction is still an infraction. However, his second one is for one that you might not have even seen coming. In his mid-match corner rests, he'll spritz himself with perfume. There are actually a few reasons that this is illegal. First off, the use of an aerosol can be used as an irritant for the other boxer, as the scent can disorient them, and the actual perfume applied can cause the gloves to slip off. But key amongst these facts is that in the corner, only an adrenaline solution, avatine, and thrombin are allowed to be applied. Unless that thing is filled with liquid adrenaline, you can't have it. I'm also iffy on if this counts as magic, but I'm willing to let it slide as it's outside of the fight. Recreational magic is fine. But thankfully,
Can that even be
the
done?
cheers are behind us as we move on to the world circuit. Who's next exactly? Oh, fuck that. Son of a Pinsky.
Language
Let's just get the
and...
obvious one out of the way to start
Wow,
off.
the
Just
Irish.
like Bear Hugger's syrup, you can't drink soda while in the corner. But he brings a whole new level of cheating by doing it in the middle of a match. Not only does this already fall under the previously explained rule, but he's also bringing foreign objects into the ring. Not to mention he's a sloppy drinker, and by getting soda onto his chest, he's applying an illegal substance to his body. I'm sure you know how sticky soda can be, so imagine trying to punch someone drenched in it. But now for the big one, as he's the only boxer that we know of that's doping, We see doctors making him special soda in a lab that lets him pull a truck with his teeth. And he's guzzling 18 bottles of this stuff and imagine his title defense intro. Doping is one of the most frowned upon things to do in sports, and to do it in front of a crowd at the expense of innocent Fanta is almost admirably bold. Bald Bull comes next, and with a head shape like that, you can imagine he's gotten a few broken rules under his belt. For starters, between rounds, he showed applying hot towels to himself, which, given the rules of boxing, he can't do. You can only apply a cold towel to yourself if you want to use one, but maybe it could be a cold towel and he's just so hot from boxing that he's steaming? I'm willing to give him that one, but one I can't budge on is his rage issues. Bald Bull just sort of rampages and wins fights by accident rather than on purpose. As such, after winning the title in title defense mode, he's so blinded with rage that he attacks the ref, throwing him out of the ring.
Yeah, people can't do that.
For life. As well, when he's in the corner, he's shown lifting weights, something I'm not exactly sure on the legality of, leaning on the side of no, but when you get to the point you start hucking them into the crowd, I feel like that's
gonna get you kicked out.
Super Macho Man comes next, and with him he brings a ton of infractions. One of a kind too, so that's good for him, I guess. First off is the gold chain and earrings that he wears. Boxing rules dictate that you can't have any piercings, and you need to take them out before a fight starts. Speaking of attire, his trunks have personal branding on them, which is strictly forbidden. Along with that, in between rounds, he's taking questions from the press, which violates rules regarding press distance from the ring, allowing them only on specific sides of the ring from a certain distance. On top of that, he's got a personal electronic with him in the camera that he's taking selfies with. Then there's the foreign object he brings into the ring when he puts sunglasses on to try to hit the Super Macho clothesline. Speaking of which, I think it's fair to say that there's a little bit of a chance that there's outside interference. The flash photography only gets bright when he goes for the clothesline. And
I mean, that would be
to start flashing their bulbs.
That is illegal.
And then, presumably thinking that that was a little too subtle of a cheat, he just cold clocks the ref. However,
yeah, that's gonna get you banned.
There's a non-fighter that gets a rule penalty. As in title defense mode, the lighting manager would earn an infraction by discriminating against Macho Man and not shining the light on him. It doesn't matter if they're fighting, it's still a penalty that's boxing related. Finally is Mr. Sandman, the world champ, and there's a reason. This guy's entire strategy is sound, completely and utterly. Makes sense since this guy isn't a cartoon character like the rest. He's a boxer. The most you could levy against him is the fact that in title defense, there isn't a clear line of demarcation between his waistband and trunks. They're both black, so it could be difficult, but the different texture used and the fact that the stripes on the side of the trunks stop at the waist could be enough. Given the fact that no one in the WBBA wants to tell me he can't wear his trunks like that, I'm going to say it's less of a violation and more of a please go and change if that's okay, Mr. Champion, sir.
Okay.
I was putting this one off because the highest amount of infractions thus far is Great Tiger with 8. This boxer has 19. Let's go, let's go! Aaron Ryan is the first boxer in the world circuit and was made to represent the typical dirty boxer. But they didn't have to go this far with it. Aaron Ryan may be a fellow countryman, but that doesn't mean I'm going to let slip what he tries to pull. Starting off, it's safe to assume that for the whole
What are the
game,
problems?
boxers have been getting their gloves the standard way. In a professional boxing fight, boxers get their gloves provided by the venues. However, because Aaron Ryan's using loaded gloves, he's clearly bringing them from home. On top of that, we know that he wraps his fists properly, but yet again, that's something that he did at home, and it wasn't inspected by the ref. Bringing these things from home and not having them inspected is 4 penalties already. And that's not to mention the little fact that he has loaded horseshoes in his boxing gloves. He's planning on killing Little Mac at this pace.
Well, checking his gloves, it doesn't look like he has horseshoes in them. So, is he sure about that?
On top of that, he's shown throwing out the classic boxing cheats, trying to throw elbows and headbutts at Little Mac.
Yeah, you can't throw a headbutt in a boxing match. No, that's illegal.
Literally asking him to hit him. No ref would allow that.
Wait,
but that's
really?
not it, as Aaron Ryan also attempts to attack Mac before the bell sounds between rounds, and in doing such, throws the ref away. That's one of the biggest no-nos in boxing, and just one of the nearly 24 infractions that Aaron Ryan accrues. Another thing to note is that there is a difference in the rules regarding intent to cheat and actually cheating. If you load your gloves, that's 1 strike. Actually throwing a punch is a different one entirely. However, this is all before his biggest infraction in title defense mode. Not only does he steal Mac's gloves from the minor circuit after breaking his old ones, he then goes on to fashion his old gloves into a flail! So obviously, bringing a weapon into the ring as well as using that weapon are illegal. But that's not even it. The glove he's using as a flail is old and ragged, and the rules state that if a glove is in such bad condition, it should be replaced by the venue. So even his cheating is cheating! even more.
Is that
It's
even
not done, they'll
possible?
attempt to throw one more swing with his weapon, and when a fighter is going down, they can't throw any more punches.
Yeah, you
Rep
can't
Morton
do-
moves
you
him
can't-
down and is waiting to deliver the
you
10
ca-
count. And
As the old saying
finally,
goes, you
Ryan is
can't
also
kick
seen
someone while they're
fighting around
down.
to the point that they start throwing stuff into the ring. It's almost admirable how much cheating he manages to sneak into a fight.
That he got caught doing it.
It's not even close. That
So
he was
yeah,
cheating twice
Aaron
as hard
Ryan's
as
banned.
The next two biggest cheaters combined. And they were bringing in squirrels, clones, and magic. Aaron Ryan did his cheating all on his own. This goes beyond being banned from competition. He's gonna be killed at this rate.
He forgot about the Aaron Ryan headbutting the camera.
The PBA is going to have a hell of a lot of paperwork to go through to clear up these infractions.
Yes, they are, and I'm gonna end this episode here before I get involved. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video and want to help this channel grow, hit the like button and the subscribe button. If we can get to as many likes as we can, I'll be back with more reaction videos. I'm Kid Chrome, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys!